Before I get to Ezra, I want to remind you that we had a week where we skipped in the sermon series that we're currently doing. We're currently in the midst of our stewardship season. And the first scripture we looked at in our stewardship lessons was Esther. Esther faced an almost unbelievable task. And she was told that maybe it was just for such a time as that she had ended up in the king's palace. Huge task. Uncertain as to whether it could be done, but understanding that God has already been at work. That God's been ahead of them. Ezra, we're going to enter a little different scene. Ezra takes place, the things that happen in Ezra takes place about 70 years after the temple has been destroyed and the Babylonians have taken lots of the people, especially those who were well-trained, those who were leaders, were all taken away. There were some who remained, this remnant that remained. But a new king comes along and decides to allow the people to go back. He is inspired by God to do this. And as he goes back, as he lets them go back, he's assured that they will be happier where they are. So he sends them off. The first thing they build is an altar to give offerings to God when they return. That's the first thing they do. Second thing they get ready to do is rebuild the temple. The temple that had been destroyed was the one that had been built by King Solomon. Gold-plated everything. Huge. Just an incredible wonder. But it was destroyed. And they know what they're coming back to. So let's hear what they end up doing. When the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, the priests in their vestments and with trumpets, and the Levites, the son of Asaph, with cymbals, took their places to praise the Lord, as prescribed by David, king of Israel. With praise and thanksgiving they sang to the Lord. He is good, his love toward Israel endures forever. And all the people gave a great shout of praise for the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. But many of the older priests and Levites and family heads who had seen the former temple wept aloud when they saw the foundation of this temple being laid, while many others shouted for joy. No one could distinguish the sound of the shouts of joy from the sounds of weeping, because the people made so much noise, and the sound was heard far away. What seems impossible? Many of us were told to leave this past week. Many of us stayed. Some of us came through with just leaves and twigs to pick up. Others had more damage. And if you did have damage, please let us know. But it is this remarkable thing that we don't wait well. Last few times I have gone away. I have evacuated. I've evacuated all the way back home to the mountains. And this year we decided to stay for this particular storm. The waiting's different. How I wait is different. In Franklin, it's busy and doing lots of other things. Here, it was, okay, we've got everything up. Now we have to wait. We had to find things to do to occupy our mind. But we waited for a week. How many of you got tired of waiting this week? How many of you wished it could be over with, done, and get back to life? Yeah. When you're coming back, though, you come back not knowing what you face. All these people from Judah that had been carried away and stayed for 50 to 70 years don't know exactly what they're going to come back to, other than a destroyed temple. And they know they have to start from scratch. The task ahead is huge. But they have come committed to rebuilding the temple. First thing they built was the altar, and they worshiped. The second thing they did was lay the foundation. They laid the foundation. We need strong foundations. And they were sent with instructions not just to build a physical foundation, but to build a spiritual foundation as well. They were sent with the purpose of not just building a structure, but a structure that had the purpose of being where God resides, of a place where they would go to worship. They went and they had a purpose in mind. And in doing so, they knew what kind of foundation they needed. As I thought about this week, I thought about Susan Leonard. And she was surprised when I emailed her and said, "Do you remember way back when you told the story of you doing something?" What she had done is they were pouring the foundation, the floor, for the new Family Life Center at a church. And in the wet cement, she wrote Luke 2:52. I don't know how that picture got there, but okay. Wet cement. She wrote Luke 2:52. This is a verse that has to do with, and Jesus increased in wisdom and in years and in divine human favor. She wrote this as a reminder that Jesus came to a specific place to grow, to learn as a child. And that we as disciples would use that building to grow, to learn, and to draw closer to Christ. They entered that building with the building having a very specific purpose, knowing where they were going. And that matters. Because God is busy making all things new. That doesn't mean God is busy making everything like it was before. God is busy making all things new. So when we build a new foundation, we have to consider what is the next step. Where are we headed? God is making all things new. Yet those who had seen the previous temple wept. It wasn't what they remembered. It was something else. It was something new. And they weren't quite sure what to do about it. But they wept. Another generation came along. They were excited about the building process and about what was about to happen. This new adventure. God is busy with a new adventure in all of our lives. As individuals, as a church, as a worldwide church. God is busy taking what is broken and building up something new. So some people may have come back here to some damage, to some cleanup work, but as Lee said in her children's sermon, this storm part over the Bahamas. And the pictures coming from the Bahamas are heart-wrenching. They've used the words catastrophic. We often hear that with hurricanes that are category 4 or 5. But somehow it doesn't always sink in what catastrophic really means. This time we're very aware of what catastrophic means. It means almost total destruction of everything. So here we have people in the Bahamas who know what it's like to wait on the storm, to wait on the storm to leave, and then to be faced with a very uncertain future. One that they know will require laying a firm foundation and rebuilding. Do we do that with purpose? In the United Methodist Church, we have already taken steps. We have already taken the steps of issuing a grant to the Methodist Church in the Bahamas for them to begin work from UMCOR, the United Methodist Committee on Relief. UMCOR is part of who we are as United Methodists, and it's so foundational that we pay for all the administrative costs so that when there is a disaster, you give 100% of what you give to those special causes goes to that cause, because all of the other stuff has been taken care of ahead of time. There is purpose to doing that. We're still using grants here from UMCOR to help rebuild from Florence for folks. UMCOR makes this possible for us, but it requires us seeing ahead and planning ahead and being ready, laying down the foundation so that we are ready to take the next step. I want you to hear a little bit about what UMCOR does.
When disaster strikes, we all want to hide. But when things are dark, God shows the love of Jesus to the suffering. Someone should be there.
And someone is. And you are the one who makes it happen. Your support enables the United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR, to act as the hands and feet of Christ, embracing and supporting those in need through their darkest days. UMCOR is able to provide relief and long-term support for recovery. Not only do we provide immediate emergency assistance in the aftermath of a crisis, we also create sustainable solutions in the following months, even years of recovery, long after everyone else has gone home. For more than 75 years, UMCOR has met the needs of the suffering, and today we continue that labor of love and service in 80 countries around the world. UMCOR will continue to be there this year to show the love of Christ to children, families, and communities when disaster strikes. Because together we do more.
You can get to the UMCOR website simply by going and searching for UMCOR, United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR.org. And it will give you several options. It has stories about how they do recovery work. It has stories about ongoing things they are doing in communities to build communities. And it has an option for you to choose to give. Now you can choose to give online, and if you do, I hope that you will check the box that you want to designate your gift as part of the giving of this church. You can also simply write a check, put it in one of the offering envelopes, and label it as UMCOR Disaster Relief. And it will all go to UMCOR Disaster Relief. But our ability to do this is firmly grounded in having a foundation. Having a mission and having built the foundation is what allows us to do this. As a church, what we do is important. It continues laying another foundation, expanding what we are doing. It's not been that many years ago that a group of people who really wanted this service knew what it felt like to be in Babylon. They knew that struggle of waiting, and they waited. But they laid the foundation so that when the time was right, the church would come to help. And people who were not even going to come to this service gave so that this service could be started. They wanted to build something new, a place where people could worship with music that was more contemporary, that they didn't have to worry about coming in shorts. They knew what they had to do. And it starts with a foundation. We build foundations. And those foundations give us hope. Hope that we will be able to stand firm and take the next step. We need to have a good place to step off. And that's what gives us hope. It's what gives others hope, that they know that we have that foundation and that we will continue to build on it by helping others. What are some of the ways we do that as a church, as Surfside United Methodist Church? What are some of the ways that you know that we have built a foundation and are in ministry because of a firm foundation? Something that we do.
Serve lunch.
Serve lunch. The community lunch.
Jason's house.
What?
Jason's house. Jason's house.
Jason's house. Very much so.
Heart to heart.
Heart to heart. Others?
Dandelion and roots.
Dandelions and roots, which is providing a foundation for our youth to come. What else?
Shoe boxes.
I'm sorry.
Shoe boxes. The
Shoe boxes, Operation Christmas Child. There are lots of things that we are already doing that are building a foundation and stepping out in ministry. But it starts with understanding that God is not leaving us where we are. Sometimes we realize that things are broken and God is not going to leave us there. But even when we think we've arrived, God isn't finished making things new. God invites us to participate with God in making things new, in helping others, in offering hope. God prepared the way for us, listen, in Jesus Christ, that we might be forgiven of our sins, that we might resist the temptation to sin, and that we might be saved by God's grace. Not to stand still where we are, but to continue laying new foundations and taking steps forward. God laid the firmest foundation. Now we have to lay foundations and step forward. Let us pray. Gracious and merciful God, we call on you to be merciful to those who have endured Hurricane Dorian. We especially think of those in the Bahamas and our friends around our communities who have repair work to do. We know that sometimes everything seems lost, and we don't know where to turn. Yet if we planned ahead, we know we have a foundation on which we can stand. That we can stand up and be ready to take steps again. The task may seem overwhelming, but we will not do it alone. For as John Wesley said on his deathbed, best of all, God is with us. And oh God, you are with us. And today when we sing your praises that we can gather and worship, yet we humbly realize that there are others who are in a lot of pain. Continue building foundations that connect to bridges. Foundations that allow bridges to be built between people, to be crossed to serve one another. And houses of worship constructed, that we might praise your holy name and prepare to step out into the world. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.